All right, and we're live. All right, can everybody see and hear me okay? Somebody give me a thumbs up or a hello. And yeah, Caroline, oh, little fly. Caroline's been blaming her IT guy. Yeah, in my house, that's my son. Okay, so let me know that you guys can see and hear me okay. Yes, yay! All right, don't worry about being late, Nanya, because I couldn't get on. It just kept saying going live, going live, going live, going live. And yeah, there we were, not going live. All right, it is so nice to see you all tonight. Hang on, let me replug the computer. I tried moving everywhere in the house. I am in Arizona, so we'll give everybody a chance to jump on. Hello, Sharon. So good to see you. Yep, glad I shared that about Mercury retrograde. I try not to follow all of that just because I don't want to influence my own energy when I think, oh, Mercury retrograde, everything's going to go to, hell in a handbasket. But anyhow, I did happen to learn from my sister-in-law that we're right in at Mercury retrograde, and not to do anything that requires a lot of technology use, or don't sign contracts, don't buy a house, don't all that kind of stuff between now and I want to say mid-May. If anybody has more information about that and wants to post it, please go ahead. But yes, it's just the way the planets align. And I'm sorry, I'm not at the best angle here, and is what it is. It's when all the planets align in a certain way, it appears as if Mercury is going backwards. I won't go into all the details, but it does impact the way it is aligned, impacts telecommunication. And it's going to impact cell phone. You'll calls drop, all kinds of things. Things don't go live, or you're in the middle of a Zoom call and everything goes wonky. It's just one of those things that it impacts. Okay, so let's see. What are we going to talk about tonight? First, I want to welcome everybody. Caroline and Diana, welcome to the membership group. It is great to have you as part of the membership group. So welcome, welcome. And hello to Jess. Hello to Kimmy. Hello to who else do I got? I already said hi to Sharon, and is that everybody? Did I catch her with Sherry? All right, we got the whole gang here, and then other folks will join in. Michelle, nice to see you. Okay, so hello everybody and welcome. Tonight we're going to talk about animal communication, and I know if you guys have questions about that, it's not something that we talk about it kind of in a sideways fashion when we talk about connecting with animals on the other side of life. But I really want to teach you, and I want to try to help you understand how the communication thing works, so that you can communicate with animals here on this side of the veil, as well as animals on the other side of the veil. It's absolutely wonderful way. I just can't imagine living my life any other way now. When my sister-in-law, I'm in Arizona, so for those, Derrick, how you do it? Oh yeah. Viv is on the agenda for this evening, and I've got some cool information from Viv. So I'm so glad that you could join us, Derrick. So maybe you can give some validation as we do the reading. But first, we're going to talk about animal communication. Sharon, I'm not sure what your question is about direct. Mercury goes direct on 4/25. Oh yeah, I'm not 100% sure what that means either. Diana, I'm in your camp. As far as the astrology goes and the astrological things, that's one area of spirituality that I have not delved into, that I probably should learn a little bit more about, because I know that the whole universe is aligned. And this does have to do with communication in general, because we're going to talk about animal communication. And why I think it's relevant is because for animal communication, animals, nobody worries about whether it's Mercury retrograde. It's humans that this seems to impact the most, but we'll get there in just a second. So retrograde backward, direct means forward. Okay. Not 100% sure about that either. Not too versed in astrology. So Kimmy, I'm just going to say this real quick, because I do understand my sign. So I'm a Libra, but when you look back to if you do a little research, as I love to do research, when you research when the original sun signs were not created, but when all the information started to be pulled together, the stars were in a different alignment. That over time, all of the universe has shifted, and our galaxy has shifted, and the position of the planets that was 2,000 years ago is not the position of the planets that are now. Even the positions of our moons have changed. So I think that impacts what we the length of time for a sign. So there are certain dates that certain, like Virgo is these dates, Libra are these dates. I don't know what follows Libra, but I think that has shifted over time. So I think there's some more information out there about that, but I digress because I want to talk about animal communication. Animal communication. I am compatible with Libra. Partner who just passed was a Libra. Okay. I find that all of us who are naturally compatible end up finding each other no matter what the sign happens to be. If we're compatible, we seem to find each other here, whether it's on this YouTube channel or in other places. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about, first of all, I'm in Arizona. I'm in Arizona where my son and daughter-in-law are spending a couple weeks vacationing. And vacationing there, they work remote, so it's a combination of things, exploring different areas of the country, which I think is wonderful. And I am nannying for my granddaughter while we're here. So what a beautiful way to spend my time, since we got 10 inches of snow in Denver on Saturday. I was so very grateful to be here in Arizona, and I tried to go outside, and that's one of the things. I ended up coming back inside, and the best place where I could get a signal is in the bedroom. So there you go. I wanted to be outside with the palm trees and the cactus and all that fun stuff, but it was not going to happen. That was definitely not going to happen. So here I am in Arizona enjoying the beautiful warm weather. And Nanya says no clue either. Scorpio. All right. I will try not to get distracted by the comments till the end when we have our question and answer at the end. Okay. So I'm in Arizona. And I did have my sister-in-law and mother-in-law come to stay with us for a day so that they could visit with my new granddaughter because they had yet to meet her. We all live all over the country, which is wonderful. I love that I have family all over, and it was beautiful to have them here. But one of the things that my sister-in-law first noticed was all the birds. And this came up also, Derrick, with Viv. So we'll see if there's any relationship with that, because I note, as you know, when I do animal communication, I do more than just listen for words and listen for information. I observe my surroundings. If there are things that are not normally in my experience in a surrounding, then I make note of it. My sister-in-law noticed that there were so many birds around us. In this particular yard where we are right now. And it's also bringing to mind because right outside I'm watching as we have quail, which I'd never seen quail up close before, but there's like 3 little quail out on the yard there. And the whole yard is filled with birds, all kinds of birds. And she said, are there just happen to be birds wherever you go? And the answer is yes. So for those of you who've been in any of the classes, you know that birds are one of the first animals to show up. When they recognize that you are holding the space for them, where you are recognizing them as individual animals, not just a flock of birds, not just a bird making a screeching noise, not just a bird chirping at 4 o'clock in the morning when you'd rather be asleep. When you start to recognize birds as individual animals, they reward you by responding. They will be in your presence. They will bring their friends. They make eye contact. They don't fly away scared. They stay. And that's one of the things that my sister-in-law noticed. And it's one of the joys of being able to communicate with animals here. That's why I want you to be able not just to communicate with animals on the other side, even though most of us want to and have made some kind of connection with our animals on the other side of life. We can make beautiful connections with the animals here, the animals who share our home, wild animals. And by doing that, it helps us become better communicators with our animals on the other side of life. And it also gives us different ways to connect with them, which I'm going to go over tonight as well. Okay, so let's get to my little topic here. I am going to look at comments real quick while I'm looking at my notes. Oh, Jody got a video of the ospreys. Thank you and I would love for you to post it. I would love for you to send it so I can post it in the group. I love birds of all kind, but I am particularly drawn to birds of prey. And I surround myself now with animals, everything I can possibly do, because it is what I want. Having come from corporate and done everything that was expected of me, that was expected of a good girl all my whole life until I was into my 50s. And then I decided that if I'm going to do this, I have to immerse myself. And so I surround myself with animals all the time. And I was volunteering at a place in Wisconsin called the Wildlife in Need Center. And it's a beautiful place that takes in animals who are injured. So wildlife that gets injured, usually by cars and vehicles, but all kinds of things, injured wildlife, and it rehabs the wildlife, hopefully to be able to release. So it's about rehabbing and releasing. And we had a bald eagle come in, and I was inches from the bald eagle, and I was able to, each of us had a job with the bald eagle. It is not very easy to treat a bald eagle, even to anesthetize a bald eagle. And they're enormous, much bigger than you can possibly imagine. They're so enormous. And being in the same room, a small, imagine a veterinary office with a technician, a veterinarian, and this beautiful bald eagle, it still gives me chills to think about that. So I'm very, very drawn to birds of prey. And Jody happened to mention that where she is, there are osprey. Osprey, they're beautiful, magnificent. My father had a beautiful painting of an osprey that I just loved and was fascinated by my whole life. So that's why I'm drawn to those. So I will be happy to post that. Thank you, Jody. Okay, so let's, I'm just going to look at a couple comments. A bird flew by my window, scared the life out of me. Sometimes they fly in. Yeah, they fly into the window. They do fly into, I've had birds fly into the window. Can't identify bird wings, but have come across discarded wings. Oh, interesting. Having vague memories of it being signs. All right, so we'll talk a little bit more about that, Derrick, when it comes time to connect with Viv. And a robin fly across the street, land. Yep. They will look at you. Absolutely, Nanya. It becomes so apparent when we start to see all animals as individuals. It becomes clear that they finally say, thank you for looking at me. Thank you for seeing me. And as a response, I will look at you. I will show you that I see you, you see me, and I'm not afraid of you, and you're not afraid of me. Thank you for loving me and accepting me in your life and not chasing me off your bird feeder. Like I'm thinking of squirrels right now. You're not chasing me off the bird feeder. You're not scaring me away. You're not, it's a wonderful feeling to have that kind of connection with animals. So you guys, oh, hi, Jamie. How are you? Oh my gosh. It's nice to see you here, Jamie. A white bird fluttered into my window. Never seen white birds here. There are all kinds of things will happen. Feed squirrels too. All kinds of things will happen. All kinds of birds will come into your experience. And they are beautiful unexpectedly. I used to, and when I moved from Wisconsin, I lived in Wisconsin, and I had an owl that lived in a tree right near our home. And that owl came every night and sat on the chimney. And it was also amazing to connect with the owl. All right, so we're going to talk about animal communication, and I'm going to share with you a couple of the questions. Sherry, in particular, you had some questions, and that I'm going to build into here. And there was a couple other questions as well that are all part of being able to communicate with animals. And then I'm going to try to give you the ways that we communicate with animals here is the same way that we communicate with animals on the other side of life. And it becomes easier to practice with the animals who are here in our presence. And that way it's hard to validate information that we receive from animals on the other side of life, and hard to know if we're really making that connection. How do I know I'm making that connection other than the feeling? And if you practice it enough and you write down enough notes about it, like I say journal about it. And by journaling, sometimes when somebody would tell me to journal, I would be like, I don't want to journal. With journaling, I picture I'm going to ask this is a perfectly acceptable practice, but I'm just going to use it as an example of something that didn't resonate with me. Ask the universe a question. I'm going to sit down, and then I'm going to write all of my thoughts about it. And then I'm going to write all of my affirmations. And then I'm going to journal about life would be like if I didn't have this in my life. Then I'm going to write about what life would be if I did have it in my life. And the next day I'm going to make a date, and I'm going to keeping a diary like that is not my style. You guys know that I love to do automatic writing. And for me, it's more spontaneous. It's more spontaneous. I reach out through my mind and my heart to God, source, Allah, Buddha, the universe, animals, usually animals, God coming to me through the animals. And then I will just write the information that they send to me. But I suggest, if you are going to start practicing communicating with animals here or on the other side, that you start keeping just a little notebook, a little notebook of the times that you've tried it, a little notebook of the times that you think you made the connection, what it felt like, what you saw. You might want to put the date. You might want to see if you've seen anything unusual, like signs like recurring numbers, or while you were trying to do it, you saw a cloud formation, or you heard an unusual sound, whatever that may be. But I would note all of those things. It's how I started to discover that animals were actually making a connection with me. And it didn't take long before I put two and two together, that the things I was writing down were repeating. Some of the things were coming back again and again and again. And then that's when I recognized I was receiving information. So we're going to talk about what it means to practice, but practice is one of the easiest ways to start to know. And it's easier to practice with animals here on Earth, the birds out in your backyard, the squirrels in your backyard, the raccoons who knock over your trash can. Go to the zoo and practice with them. There's all kinds of ways for us to begin to practice right here. And I'll share some tips about that. We'll answer some questions, and then we will do a reading for the beautiful Viv. First question came from Sherry, and Sherry's question was, Nanya is saying, look at all the, it feels the same way about journaling. Show me all the angel numbers. Angel numbers are one of the great ways that we know that we are either on the right track. I did a little series of those little short videos about angel numbers. They're a wonderful way for us to know that we're on the right track. And the series that I did on angel numbers, and the reason that I'm going to bring this up as part of animal communication, is because I did a little thing like, if you're seeing 111, which is true, if you're seeing 111, it means that you are you've made a really strong connection to the universe, and you're receiving a sign through the universe, through your higher self. 111, you're on the right track. And I kind of did all those things, but we can assign meaning to any numbers. We can assign meaning to colors. There are spirit animals we assign meaning to. We can assign meaning to anything. Really, what I want you to recognize is that it is a clear signal that you are making a connection, that your connection is strong. And I take it. So when I was driving to Arizona, every time I had to leave my little doggie at home with my husband. So I was a little, I'm worried about her. I love her to pieces, and I want to bring her with me everywhere, but she's blind and she does not like to travel. Riding in a car is completely foreign to her because she can't see. She has no eyes. So she cannot, for her, it is random movement. She just senses movement. She can't look out the window like other dogs do, and it's very disconcerting to her. And then when she gets to the place where we're going, she doesn't know where to go to the bathroom. She doesn't know where her food dish is. She doesn't know where her water is. So I was concerned about leaving her for this period of time that I wasn't going to be at home. And I simply asked, just show me that it's the right thing to do. Every single license plate going down the road, 111, 222, 555, 777, 999, 666, everything. And so I was grateful. I just said, thank you. I understand I'm on the right track. I'm in the right place. And when we got here, it's just so beautiful and so peaceful and calming that I'm happy we're here. So always look for those signs. And yes, it can come in 4s and it can come in 3s, and it doesn't have to be 111. If you have like your birth date starts to show up, or the birth date of your animal companion starts to show up, or a random number. We have a family number, 147. In my family, it meant good luck for a relative of ours who crossed to the other side. So now the whole family, every time we see 147, we're always letting each other know when we see it. It kind of connects everybody as well. Okay, so let's talk about the first question that came from Sherry. The question was, does the amount of time that it's been for the animal to have crossed, does that influence our ability to communicate with them? So I have 2 answers or possibly more for that. Does the amount of time, so if they crossed last week, or if they crossed 10 years ago, or somewhere in between, does that length of time impact our ability to communicate with them? And the answer is no and yes in a little bit. A little bit it does. And the newer it is, the harder it is to make that communication. So I'll explain to you kind of why that is. Because I have people who do reach out to me for private readings that it's very fresh, like within a day or a week. And the level of the depth of emotion and grief is still so strong that it's difficult for them to make that connection. It's difficult for them to hear the information and to make that connection. So I do believe that there should be a resting period. And by a resting period, and it doesn't mean that you can't say, I love you, I love you, I love you, I miss you, I cry for you, my soul cries for you, my heart is broken, I'm feeling guilty, I'm feeling all of those emotions. We feel them for a reason. We were given those emotions, and I believe that we need to feel the depth of our emotions. We wouldn't be given them if we weren't meant to feel them. And I think last week we mentioned in this group, and we mentioned on the video, that the depth of our grief is directly related to the depth of our love. And I believe that after an animal crosses to the other side, that we embrace our emotions, feel the emotions, let them flow through you. I don't believe that we should wallow in those emotions. And that means 6 months from now. There's no time limit though. And time, we're going to talk about time in a second. Time is only relevant here on planet Earth. There is no time limit for grieving, but I'm just going to use 6 months as an example. If it's been 6 months since your animal companion has crossed, and you're still finding yourself in a place that is so deep in grief that you can't function, then I would be seeking help. For me, that seeking assistance is a better word. Seeking assistance with managing those emotions. And I always post, you got, for anybody who does need it, or if you know anybody who needs it, I always post on the main Animal Reiki Lady page and throughout my different videos, links to if there are different organizations that offer deeper help than I can offer. I can offer comfort and connection and a sense of peace and relief. But for some people, it goes much deeper than that. And there are counselors, like I always talk about Dr. Katie Lawler. Someday I'll meet her. She's the pet loss psychologist. She is primarily on Instagram, but she has two different veterinarians who have become psychologists, and they work with people to help them manage through psychologically the grief process. So I always recommend things. And if anybody does have that, does recognize that there's someone in their life who may need additional assistance, there are so many organizations. It should be easy to find, even through your local humane society or your veterinarian, or your besides humane society, shelter. They usually all have different resources and groups that meet either online or in person. You can find in-person groups if that's your thing, where you get together and just help each other recover from the loss of an animal companion. So the time does not make a huge, for us, it makes a little bit of difference if the earlier on it is. But let's just say that it's been years since your animal companion has crossed and you would like to make a connection with them. Or another example would be, let's say it's been 6 months and you're finally coming out of that dark territory and you're realizing, okay, I really want to make a connection. Did I miss my window? And that's an absolute no. You can connect with any animal over any period of time. Time on the other side is it's not non-existent, it's just different. It's very fluid, and it is very, from what I understand, from the understanding that I've been shown, time is very fluid and it doesn't go in a linear fashion, and time speeds up. If that's I'm not even sure how to wrap my mind around that terminology, because, and this will lead into one of the next questions. But it's instantaneous. Even saying the word instantaneous is too slow for how quickly communication happens on the other side of life, because communication here is governed by the laws of living on planet Earth. So we have gravity, and we have all the things that it takes to create material things and bodies and everything that we see around us on Earth. The air that we breathe, the water, the rivers, the oceans, the sun that shines on us, even all the planets, everything is in such an order that on Earth, it requires time. And I do joke that sometimes there's this little fly around here. Oh yeah, when you start to communicate with animals, it means all creatures, not just animals. You're going to start to see flies and dragonflies and bumblebees, spiders. Anywho, talking about time, I like to say that time is good for just a couple of things: making sure that you don't burn the cookies in the oven, and making sure that you hit your flight on time. Otherwise, there's so many things that we overdo with time, about being on time and being punctual. And there are some people who are punctual, and there's some people who are late to everything. And why is that? And why do some people have such a poor sense of promptness that causes them to be late, but yet they don't see it as a problem? So it's because time is it's this man-made construct that we have here on Earth. But so don't worry about the length of time between when you have experienced the loss of your animal companion and you're first able to try to make a connection with them. Sorry, it's even drier here in Arizona than Colorado. Okay, so what do you do? It's very, very easy, because time to them is not relevant. There are some movies that have tried to describe what time is like on the other side. But for them, it doesn't feel like they're not, our animal companions are not on the other side of life, tapping their foot going, okay, it's been 10 years. Why hasn't she tried to communicate with me? For them, it's instant. There's no sense of a long period of time. For them, it'll be quick, and there will be no, they're not going to be upset that you're taking so long. It's only so long right here on Earth. So the amount of time doesn't make a difference. You can connect with them no matter what. The other question that Sherry posed was, well, then how often do they visit with us? All the time. How many references do we make to time whenever we speak, every time we speak, whenever we speak? Everything is about time. And how often do they visit us? As often as we choose. This is another concept that is sometimes difficult to verbalize, but there's no limit to the number of times that they can try to connect with us, or that we can try to connect with them, or that we do make that connection with them. Just as there is no concept of time, there are no limits on the other side. At any point in any time, they also don't go, nope, sorry, you missed out. I'm going to go talk to somebody else now because you weren't around for me. It just doesn't work that way. They are part of you. Don't ever forget, please don't ever forget that your soulmate is your soulmate. And it's not like here on Earth. It's not like high school romance that ends after a summer. They are your soulmate, the one who is always there. When we sing songs about soulmates, I swear that sometimes we don't understand we're talking about our animal companions and not a romantic partner. Our soulmates don't leave us. They're always there for us, and they're always there to connect with us and to communicate with us. Hang on a quick second. I'm going to close the door. I hear people coming in. I was here alone, but not anymore. Okay. So how often do they visit with us? Whenever you want, whenever you ask. They're with us when we don't even realize it. It's like they're a beautiful spiritual energy that's part of us. They're always in our heart. They're always by our side. They don't actually go anywhere. When I say that the other side, or the other side of the veil, there is no other place. It's this beautiful energy that flows to, through, and around everything. They become part of that energy, and they are able to manifest themselves in many ways and at any time. So they're always there. They're always in your heart. They're always in your mind. They're always by your side. All you need to do to recognize that is to call on them. And I have some tips for that in just a minute. All you need to do is call on them, and they are able to, and they will come right to your side. They will come right to you. And if you doubt it and you go, oh gosh, I'm not sure if that was them, or I can't do this. And no, I can't make that connection. And I've been trying for years and I haven't. It's okay. Don't stress over it, because they don't. They don't stress over it. They are beyond patient. They have more patience than anything ever, because they will endlessly help us to try to connect with them, even if it comes to the time when we have to cross to the other side ourselves. Which leads me to the next question. The next question was, when we cross over, do we see them again? 100% yes. 100% yes. When we cross to the other side, we do see them again. And we see them again as we choose to see them and as they choose to be seen. It's heaven, literally heaven. And it's not pearly gates with angels floating around on clouds, unless that's your idea of heaven, and then you can experience that. Heaven is it is the happiest, most beautiful moments of your life, and you can choose whoever you want to be there for you, and they will be there for you. And your soulmate, your animal companion, when you cross over, they will be there, not just waiting for you. You're not even going to feel that you ever were separated. There's no sense of separation. You are going to feel instantly reconnected with them as if you were never apart. I'm going to guess that some of you have experienced this feeling like, you don't talk to somebody for 10 years, like you've got a bestie and it's been months since you last talked to them. But when you pick up the phone, you pick up right where you left off. And it's as if there was no time in between whatsoever. Multiply that by 100. And that's what it's like. You are instantly reconnected with them. So yes, you do see them again and they see you again, and you can see them as perfect and whole and just the way you want to see them. They're not going to be like a ghost or they're going to be just exactly what you visualize. And then the next question was, is communication the same? So does it work the same way? Or do we need to be I think the question was, do we need to be on the other side to fully communicate with them? No. So we don't need to be on the other side of life in order to fully communicate with them. We can receive everything we need to know we are connected. Our bodies, our heart, mind, and soul is connected spiritually, energetically to everything else. We are connected to everything else. There isn't anything that isn't connected. If your feet are on the ground right now, you are connected. And if you didn't have feet, it wouldn't matter. You are connected to everything, to the earth, to the water, to the sun, to the moon, to the planets, to the stars, to birds, to your animal companion. It's all connected. We're all part of this beautiful web of life that exists, and it's all connected. So you can communicate to them. I'm just trying to find the words for when you get to the other side. I started to say how quick the communication is. It's before you even ask the question, the answer is already in your mind. But you just know. You know everything. You know everything there is to know, and they know everything there is to know, and you both know everything there is to know together. And I don't do a good job of explaining that, only because it's hard for our little human brains to wrap around these concepts. Hang on a quick second. I am going to believe, I started to read one of the comments. I'm going to read the comments real quick to see what kinds of questions there are. Do they need help from other sources? Oh, let's answer that question. Other sources, not so much the other two. Cannot wait to see my babies. I'm not the only one with that thought. So let me see. I'm just going to go back and see if I can make a string of those things. Okay, so I'll see what I can do about that, and about some pets and other pets. I'll see if I can explain that too. So do they need help from other sources? Absolutely not. Our animal companions, I joke about this. I teach an animal communication class, and I joke that there is no animal on the planet who has to take a human communication class. They don't need to take a class. They don't need to take a course. Nobody needs to teach them how to do it. They know how to do it, and they don't need an intermediary. We sometimes need an intermediary. So when people ask me to reach out on their behalf, and which I'm happy to do, it's these little mini readings that I do. I do it. I'm happy to reach out on your behalf, and there are people who ask for someone to do it on their behalf because they don't trust that they have the ability, and no one has ever taught them how to do it. And it's completely understandable. It's like having an interpreter. So you may not be able to speak Spanish, but you'd like to communicate in that way, so you have an interpreter. You may not know American Sign Language, but you'd like to communicate that way, so you have an interpreter. It's the same kind of thing. So I would serve as an intermediary who is able to share that information on behalf of you and the animal companion. And I share that to the best of my ability. And the more I practice, just like any interpreter, the more I practice it, the better I get at it, the better I understand some of the meaning behind what I'm hearing, and the better I am able to share that information with the human companion. It's a little bit easier sending the information the other way because I do so with an open heart, and most people just want their animals to know that they're loved and they're sorry, and they uh, for which there's nothing to be forgiven. And that beautiful, those feelings of love are so easy for me to send. Um, and they feel it from their human companions all the time, whether or not you believe that you're being successful in communicating with them. So while we may need an intermediary to help them, animals do not need an intermediary. Why is it easier to talk to some animals than others? I don't know that it's easier. It's just a little bit different. And it's because even if you have soulmate animals, one of the things that I remember is that animals are all on their own journey. Each animal is on their own unique journey, just like each human being is on their unique journey. And I use the example of Jack. I don't believe that Jack was an actual soulmate. He was in my life for a reason. I believe every single animal comes into our life for a reason. But I believe that Jack was here more for my husband than for me. And when Jack crossed to the other side, and I meditated with Jack and Jack still comes to me when I ask and request to be able to connect to him. He still shares wonderful information with me, but he gave me a very strong sense that he was an old soul. And I think I've mentioned this before too, that he was an old soul and his journey had come to an end, like his complete journey had come to an end. He would not be coming back again. Whatever it was he had come here to accomplish was done, and he had been on many journeys, and he was tired is actually the sense I got. He was tired and would be like retiring, and becoming one again with all of universal energy. It was as if he was willingly and happily rejoining God and going back to God and just becoming part of that universal energy. And when I ask, I still get a strong sense of him. He comes through, I receive information, but then I feel him literally go back. That's the only words I have to describe it. Lucy, on the other hand, comes to me all the time. And I know, I also know, isn't it interesting that I know I can visualize Jack with my father even. So I wonder if that doesn't mean that my father has decided his journey is over as well. I can see the two of them so clearly together. But I digress. Lucy, on the other hand, comes to me all the time. So I believe that we definitely have stronger connections with certain animals than others, and that other animals come into our life for certain periods of time, and it's all different, and it's all unique, and it's all wonderful, and each journey is so beautiful. Just like me journeying for a week to Arizona is just as beautiful as if I would to spend a week in Paris or wherever it is I would go. Every single journey is unique and wonderful, and I not only embrace it, I honor it. I honor their individual journeys. Winston, who was in my life for only 2.5 years before he crossed to the other side. I feel sometimes a deeper connection to him as my soulmate than other animals who have been in my life. And Jake was a foster dog. Jake only lived with me for 3 months, and the imprint that he left on my heart is forever. So all animals, every relationship that we have with animals is going to be different. So don't be, I would just go, whatever you feel is true, is true. That's exactly how it works. You know in your heart when something is right. And so it's not every single animal who's going to be indelible. And there are just those that are soulmates. So like Derrick's Viv is a soulmate. And we all have had at least one of those animals who's a soulmate for us. All right, let me check these questions with me real quick. Here, my fur babies are waiting for my deceased loved ones as well. Other sources meaning getting energy from our loved ones. And then Jamie says, when pets show up in my dreams. All right, we're going to come back to these questions in just a second. How do I explain this? Other sources getting energy from our loved ones. I'm not sure if you mean loved ones on the other side or loved ones here, but nor do we don't need to give or get energy from others. This beautiful energy that is everywhere, it flows to, through, and around us. Literally, we are part of the energy. And universal energy it's pure love, and without oversimplifying it, but maybe all I need to do is oversimplify it. All we need to do is tap into that love. That's it. That's all the energy we need. That is all the energy we need, is the energy of love. And we and they are able to make a connection. When we talk about how to communicate with animals in just a second, and I've said it before, it all comes from the heart space. Our heart is our number one way to make connections with animals. Our heart does more than pump our blood. Oh, hang on a quick second here. I still have the alarm set on my phone for Central Time. I mean, for Denver time. Okay, let's other sources meaning energy from our loved ones, and yes, I'm kind of lost in the conversation there. That's okay. Nope, it was my phone. I had the alarm set for this video, but for my time in Denver. Oh, that's an interesting one, Jen. Jess, you had adopted an 18-year-old kitty from a shelter and he bit someone else's baby, but you fell in love. Had 4 great years with them. Absolutely. Winston was a rescue. And I will continue always. I know that my journey is with seniors, and in particular, I would like to adopt senior animals who, as humans, have crossed to the other side. What a beautiful relationship, because that's the next question I want to get to, is this love between loved ones, between our loved ones, our departed loved ones, our animal companions. It's all one big, beautiful family. It's one big, beautiful family. My father, for example, had never met Winston, but I know that Winston is with him as well. It's all one beautiful family, and everybody is always waiting for each other, and no animal reaches the other side without somebody or someone, some either person or animal there to greet them, and no human goes to the other side without that same thing. We all have somebody there waiting for us, and we're all together, and you can be with whoever you want, and there are no limits. There's absolutely no limitations on the other side of life. Zero, zip, zero, zilch. Because I feel in my heart that my father's with my dogs, my father is with my dogs, because it's part of me. It's all together. So nobody has to worry about being alone themselves, about their loved ones being alone, even people who we were not, I want to use the right words, who were not a positive part of our life. They get to go to heaven too. And they get to be with the animals of their choice as well. And all is healed on the other side. Everything gets healed on the other side of life. Think about this. If you have any belief in God, and I'm not preaching any religious tradition here or talking about religion in any way, I'm using God as the most convenient word for me because it's the word I was raised with, as this universal, all-knowing, all-loving being has the ability to heal everything. Everything. Even the things that you think somebody should be burning in hell for. God finds a way to heal. There are ways to be healed. And that could be a topic for another time, because I have a strong sense of how things get healed on the other side. But anyway, I lost a question back here. So, thank you, Sharon. I'm glad that I try to explain it, and sometimes I feel like I get wrapped up in my own words and my own thoughts. So thank you. then I want to go to the other question. When my pets show up in my dreams, are they asking me to communicate? Yes, they are. We're going to get to dreams in just a second. Sleep and dreams, number one way to communicate with our animal companions. Adopt, amazing. Oh, hello, Tara. It's good to see you. And we are all a collective. Yeah, we're all a collective, and I know that some people don't like to think that, and that's okay. I mean, honestly, whatever gets you through the day. I get it. I totally get it. And there are some people who don't believe in any of this stuff, but they're the ones who find this channel and then or don't find this channel ever, or they're the ones who leave. Like, I get some funny comments, guys. If you only knew some of the comments I get. But that's okay. I mean, everybody's got their own thing, but the people who are drawn to this message are the ones that the animals are getting through to. That's exactly how it works. The animals are getting through, and they are finding a way to get their message to us, and for us to be able to receive the message, hear the message, be open to it. And it happens to be my voice that is delivering that message. And that's all we can do about it. Does my intense grief make it hard for my pet to reach me? So Jesse, the answer, yeah, but without any, don't worry about it. The answer is yes. When we have a deep level of grief, it is hard for our animal companions to get through, but that's part of the healing process. And it is totally okay. We've all experienced, everyone here in this little chat. Sometimes I don't know where it is when I look at my video. We've all experienced an intense level of grief to one degree or another, sometimes for short periods of time, sometimes for long periods of time. But I explain it this way. Grief is an emotion that holds us way down here. And it's a dense emotion. Instead of calling it good, bad, or indifferent, it's dense. It's a heavy emotion that keeps us down here. When our animals cross to the other side, they become pure positive love. And I hold that up here. So they are way up here and we're way down here. And the more we, especially if we do wallow, and I try not to use that as a judgmental word, but when we hold ourselves buried deep in the grief, and it's hard for us to heal, and we feel our heart is in a million pieces, I do try to remind people that our animals leave a piece of their heart with us. Just like our heart goes with them, they leave some stuff right here. We are able to heal, but anyway. So we're down here, they're up here, and it's like being on two different radio stations. And they can't hear us, we can't hear them. We know that they're there, and they know that we're here, but we can't seem to connect. So when we practice, meditation is one way, prayer is another way. Just I recommend sometimes looking at pictures of that. Anything you can do to raise your vibration just a little bit, and that's what we call it. I know it's a hippy dippy woo woo thing, raise your vibration, but if we can just raise ourselves up a little bit higher, sometimes it helps to go from grief to anger, and then from depression to anger. And then from anger to acceptance. We don't have to go right from grief to, I'm so happy now. I woke up this morning and all of it's gone. It usually doesn't work that way. But we can help raise our vibration a little. And the sense I get is that they're able to come meet us at a certain level. And then we can begin to talk. And then our emotions get a little bit better and a little bit better. And the more we heal, and the higher our vibration gets, and the more peaceful we become, and the more loving we become, the more our heart heals, and the more that communication becomes even easier and even better. And sometimes I like to refer to it as colors as well. So we're in a red place, and they're in a blue place, and we want to get to the place where we can bring the colors together and become purple. And that's also how communication works. Every single day, if we can take one baby step towards healing our heart, it makes it easier to communicate with our animals. And we're going to have good days and we're going to have bad days. It's not all going to be, it's not always a linear thing. Some days we have good days, some days we have bad days, sometimes we have great days. Other days we have 2 or 3 days in a row where it's not so good. But we can little by little help to manage that until we get to a place where we can communicate with our animals. Janessa, you're with a group of people who all miss their babies so much, and we feel for you. My heart, I send this out all the time. My heart truly goes out to you, and I mean that in the most beautiful way. I extend my heart to you and help and pray for your own healing and for your own sense of connection with animals. It's very hard. It's when you're hurting so bad, does it hurt to rise up? Indeed, it does. And the little videos that I've started to do, and I can take no credit for this. It's the Animal Collective and all of the animals who over the past, I don't know how many years now, I've had the honor to connect with through you guys and through animals in general, animals that I've been working with through the veterinary office, through the funeral home. All of those animals have given me these messages to share. They're messages of healing. The shorts, so they're called YouTube shorts, these little 60-second videos are messages of healing from animals. They're meant little by little to help us heal. And it's so hard to be. So I remember sitting on the floor with Winston when I realized he had crossed without me, when I thought we had that deal where he was going to cross in my arms, to come home after just 2 hours and to find that he had crossed and to sit on the floor sobbing. I know that feeling. I know the feeling to be in my car sobbing, to be screaming, literally screaming at my husband who hadn't seen that he had crossed. I get it. The depth of the emotion is so intense. But every single day, I made a point to do one small thing that would help put a little piece back together, put it back together, put it back together, put it back together, until I was able to get to a place where felt that I could connect with Winston and that my heart would heal again. And I prayed, and there's so many little things that we can do. Okay. Sherry, it's so true. That those short videos, sometimes I'll get I don't know, an inspiration to do like 3 or 4 in a row. It'll just come, and I don't know where the information comes from. So it's not like I sit down and I write myself a script, because all I do is press the button that says go, or that says, record, and I just say whatever the words are that come to me. So I trust that those are completely messages from the animals that somebody needs to hear at this moment in time. And that's the only explanation that I have for them. Okay. So let's, Gypsy Ruby. Oh, at Gypsy Ruby, I'm not 100% sure what that is. Oh, at Gypsy Ruby, and shorts are comforting. Thank you. Feeling my heart that my soul dog is my old soul dog. Yeah, that passed years ago. 100%. If you're just kind of making the reconnection now, starting to get you guys know this. I was in my 50s before all this started to come to me. I lived a whole life burying this, keeping it squashed, and now I can't stop talking about it. And there was one more thing I wanted to point out here. I lost my 2 babies, Ace and Fry, within 2 months. Yeah, it is near unbearable. And that's at Gypsy Ruby. Gypsy, my dog is named Gypsy right now. Lucy and Winston crossed within 10 days of each other. It was exactly 10 days. Lucy crossed as a planned assisted crossing, assisting her to cross at the end of life. Her transition was with our beautiful veterinarian, and Winston crossed on his own only 10 days later. That was the other part. It was almost unbearable, even though I knew with seniors, right? Logical mind versus the mind in my heart. Okay, let me see if there's what else I want to cover here real quick, because I want to get to the reading for Derrick's been waiting patiently for Viv. He's been ever so patient. So heaven is always with your soulmate. I did write that. Heaven is always with your soulmate. The best ways to communicate with your animals. This is here or on the other side. And we'll continue to talk about this. As always, these topics all seem to blend together, and it's all meant to help us. I know that we're being taught. Even me, we are being shown how to do this so that we can help manage our own lives better. We can become better pet parents in the future, and that we can improve the quality of life for ourselves and for all animals on this planet just by coming together and talking about this and helping each other heal and rising each other up, right? What's that saying about the wave that rises the ship? I'm not 100% sure what that is. Okay. Sleep and dreams. Number 1 way. Easiest way, because you don't need to do anything. Your subconscious mind takes over. At the moment you are drifting off to sleep, you may ask, and it may take a little bit of practice because our mind doesn't remember these things. Keep your pen and paper right by your bedside. So in the morning before you even get up to pee, you write down what your dream was. That moment between awake and asleep, when your conscious mind is releasing control and your subconscious mind is taking over, you can ask your animal companions to come to you. They enjoy coming into your dreams. They will leave you messages in your dreams. There is nothing that you need to interpret. They're not going to give you like some secret. They're not going to appear as a dragon flying through the air during a fire or what. They're going to come to you in your dream, and they're going to share information with you. And if you don't remember your dream, the other thing I would do is keep your pen and paper by your bedside. In the morning, just write down the first thought that pops into your mind, because that may be the thing that they were trying to tell you in your sleep and your dreams. The second thing is through pictures. Think about your animal companion. They spoke to you with, they didn't use words. They're very visual animals. So think about pictures. And even if you can't visualize something in your mind, you can receive like a word. Even now, people say, I can't visualize. When I say the word baby, do you see B-A-B-Y, or do you picture right away an infant? If I say the word tree, do you see T-R-E-E, or do you see this thing with a trunk and branches and leaves? Even if you can't visualize the kind of a tree, like you can't bring a palm tree into your mind, even though I can see one right out my window, you see the picture. You see sneaker. You don't see S-N-E-A-K-E-R. You see a tennis shoe. So think about that they think in pictures. So even if you can't visualize, you can receive a message that is a picture, and they will often give you pictures from their point of view. That's the other thing I like to point out. I'll come back to the comments in a sec. Even if you can't visualize the message, you can send them the message first. Send them pictures. Send them pictures, any picture that you want to send them. Just even holding the feeling of love, you can send them visuals, and you can practice that here and on the other side. You can send visual pictures. And the other thing that I recommend when you are talking to your animal companion, and this is here and on the other side, but mostly I think of it in terms of connecting with them on the other side, picture them in their physical body the way they were in life, because that helps you. If you have a photo of your animal companion, that's a great way to do it. You guys send me photos all the times, and I can make, because I've practiced now, but if you have a photo, you can look at your animal companion's photo, but picture them as they were in life, and then speak their name as you would in life. When I do these videos and I talk about Jack and Winston and Lucy, invariably one of them comes to me in my dreams because I have spoken their name. Their name carries a vibration. Gypsy, Lucy, Winston, Viv. Speak that name and feel it when you speak it as you hold the picture of them, and you will be able to connect with them easier by doing that. You know how they were in life. You know exactly what they were like in life. They are no different on the other side. It's not going to be a guessing game. You can connect with them just by thinking about how they acted, how they behaved, what they did, the things that were unique to them, the sounds they made, everything about them that was unique, they take with them to the other side. And you will be able to connect with them just by remembering what they were like here, right now, here on Earth. And you'll be able to connect with them on the other side. And then use words that are familiar to them. When you are asking to connect with them, use things that you would speak to them the way that you would have spoken to them when they lived with you, when they were in their physical body. Recall what words you used to use with them. And then let them send back to you those same kinds of messages. And be prepared to hear, there's that little fly again, be prepared to hear it anywhere. You may all of a sudden just get a sense of knowing in your mind. You may hear a song. You may hear something on the television. You may see or hear something on your laptop, computer, or cell phone. In any way, you may see something on a billboard. You may see a flag. You may see something drive by on a car. You may see a license plate. There are any number of ways for them to get through to you. but keep an eye out for the things that would be meaningful to you and them. So if their favorite food was hot dog, and the next thing you know, you see the Oscar Mayer Wiener mobile driving down the road, any of those ways are ways that they will get in touch with you. Be open to all the possibilities, and they're not just signs. It's communication. It's letting you know they hear you, and it's so open the door to receiving that communication, and you'll be able to connect with them. All right. I am going to, this time flies by so fast, because there's more I wanted to talk about and how they break through the veil, but maybe that's going to be for next time, because their energy is lighter and it appears a little bit differently. That's why we didn't get to the orbs yet, but part of the orb thing, it's more humans that come through as orbs than animals, because humans feel the need to take a form for us, where animals don't feel the need to necessarily take a form. But we'll come back to that, because I really want to get this reading in for Viv. And I'm going to look real quick. Room number 333. There you go, with a picture of the cat. Oh, looked up 333 and found me. Yeah. There's no coincidence there. There is no coincidence there. That's the animals lining things up for you. The day that you adopted your new cat, when you were going to sleep, you felt that Viv, joined by other cats, congratulating me for taking in a new one. I'm going to tell you what I wrote about that. It was the last thing I wrote down here. The light's kind of fading here. I wrote, so we're going right to the bottom here, and then I'll read you the rest that I have, Derrick, from Viv. So the question was, did he assist with the decision to bring in the adopted cat? And the answer was, what he told you this, and somehow you knew this. He told you to please adopt anyone. Please adopt someone. It doesn't matter who, as long as you please. Oh no, this is what it says. He told you, please adopt someone else. Please adopt anyone. It doesn't matter who. It didn't matter who. Please adopt anyone, as long as it's not a dog. That was the answer I got. And yeah, and then I'll tell you the rest in a second about where he was. So, yep. They were absolutely there were, whenever we adopt, whenever we decide that it's time to bring another animal into our home, all animals do a beautiful dance of joy. They are so grateful to us when we bring other animals into our home to care for, because it's one more animal who's not alone, who's not on the streets, who isn't in a cage, in a kennel, in a shelter. They all animals. When I go to shelters and practice Reiki, what I do is go and pray with them. I talk to them about finding their forever home, because when we can find them a forever home, and I imagine bringing in the perfect human, and the perfect human comes in and meets them, and it leaves a room space for another animal to come in to find their perfect home. So yes, they all do a wonderful dance when we bring them into our homes. So what people ask me that, I get that question a lot. Should I adopt another animal? And my answer is always yes, but that's always a personal experience. Okay, so let's go back to Viv here. Viv, the word that came through was solo. That's why I told you, Derrick, that Viv was the only animal we were going to do a reading for tonight, because Viv said to me, solo, please. I want a solo pet reading, not a soul pet reading. So Viv is a tiger, right? And well, I mean, not a tiger, but maybe he is a tiger, because all I wrote was the word tiger here. And what is that road that sometimes I can't read my writing, guys? And that you assisted Viv's transition to help ease, so that there was not going to be a lot of pain. We all know when we get a diagnosis that our animal companion could possibly be in grave pain. That's the last thing we want, is for them to have poor quality of life. He's been staying in touch. Viv has been staying in touch. I wrote staying in touch. Okay, staying in touch. All right. Well, so I'm going to give you some of the things that came through. Okay, Jesse, I'll tell, if you hang tight, I will tell everybody how if you'd like to go about getting a reading, how you do that. So the first thing that came up was, and I kept this right here, a number 2 yellow pencil. Does anybody ever use these anymore? This just like showed up. I don't even know where it was on the counter in here. And I'm like, what the heck? I'm going to write with an old-fashioned pencil. And so I did write everything, which is why it's hard to read now too. I wrote everything in pencil, and this was the first thing I wrote down was a yellow number two pencil. Like, did he used to play with one? Did Viv always play with this kind of a pencil? And then I had a sense of crying, and it made me cry. I had a sense of crying, and I don't mean to be sad when this happens, but sometimes I pick up the emotion, and I'm very empathetic that way when it comes to animal emotion. And I picked up the emotion of crying, and I got a sense that he cried a little. When it was his time to go, I got a sense that he cried a little, mostly because he really, really enjoyed his life with you. He really, really enjoyed his life with you, and he knew that it was time to go. And no animal goes before their time, by the way. So that's one thing that we don't have to worry about. But then I got a sense that he cried a little bit with you. When you cried, he cried. And when you comforted him, he comforted you, and you comforted him. And it was just this beautiful mutual sense of comfort at the end of life. And when the moment actually came, he was completely comforted. I must have written that word down 6 times. He was completely comforted. And then what came up of all the odd things, I always take note of exceptional things that pop up when I'm asking to connect with an animal companion. So I'm on my computer preparing this. I've got some notes here from when I sat down. I always go into a small, dark place, like a quiet place, when I ask to connect with animals. And all of a sudden I get this message that says, would you like to play Age of Empires? I'm like, what? Would I what? I don't even know where the message came from. Just pops up on my computer screen. A video game. I'm not a gamer. I don't ever play video games. Nothing. I'm an old-fashioned Zelda girl on the old kind of Nintendo where you pop the cartridge in. So I don't know, Derrick, if you do video games, but if you do, it came up that that Viv was sending me a message about video games. And then I did get a sense, though, of chasing things around on a screen. So I don't know whether it was a television screen or a computer screen, but I got a sense that Viv liked to play with that kind of thing. And liked to watch his own shadow and enjoyed pouncing, and that there's not enough pouncing in heaven. I got that sense that there's not enough pouncing in heaven. And surrounded by birds. That was the thing. I also note when there's a lot of birds like there is in this particular area, I take that into consideration because today I saw so many birds, crazy amount of birds, including hummingbirds. There was a hummingbirds, there was a hawk. There right now outside the window, I mentioned there's quail, the most unusual birds I noticed. And I got a sense of frustration that Viv always wanted to get the birds, but couldn't get the birds. And that's why he believes that right now, even in heaven, there's not enough pouncing for him because he would love to pounce. Also had this sunburst pattern, just like this. There's no other way to describe it than a sunburst pattern. So I don't know if there was a window that Viv could look through that gave him this sunburst, but I got a sense of sunburst. And I'll go back and check any comments that come up. A sound of airplanes. That was like a loud propeller sound that seemed to bother him for some reason. Lots of birds. Doves. Doves was the other bird. Doves, hummingbird, a tree full of birds. I had a picture of a tree full of birds that he just was fascinated by all the time, that he actually absolutely loved this. Brought his bed to the vet so he could rest comfortably. And you do play video games. That's funny. Why? Well, there's not ever been a video game on my computer. Why would all of a sudden I get this ad? Would you like to play Age of Empires? That was the actual game. Would you like to play Age of Empires? And then Derrick wanted to know if, I went too far. Hold on. Loved birds, a tree full of birds that he loved. You unwell. I got a picture of you being unwell and that he came and sat on your chest at a time when you were unwell. And that he was grateful to you for being with him when he was unwell, that you both supported during a time of illness. Also that he was a talker. Usually that's with Siamese cats. I get the sense of talking, like Siamese cats they like to vocalize, but I got a sense that he was a talker and that he enjoyed expressing himself in many ways. He was very expressive, and only you would know all those ways. I don't know what all those ways were. And that's a great way to connect with him, is visualizing the way that he would try to get your attention. And that's the way that you can connect with him now. Send the message. Oh, to him. So Derrick wanted to say, have I missed any signs? The answer right away came out yes, but nothing important. You have not missed any important signs, and you can always ask again. Our animal companions don't get tired of repeating themselves. If there's something that you missed that Viv wants you to know, he will send you that sign again and again and again. Um, I've described his favorite spot by by a door-sized window. Okay, good, good. So they that's the way they try to get through to us. So this is for everybody. Even though I'm doing these readings for you guys, you can try this on your own. They will try to show you, look at the world through their eyes. Remember where they were, what they did, how they acted. Those are the ways that they'll still come through to you. And he knows. He knows. Truly cherished soulmate. He absolutely knows all of that, and you can continue just to send those messages to him too. He just, I got a sense of intense knowing. He knows as much as you that you guys are both soulmates. So adopted that the cat that you adopted has a completely different personality, but sometimes you see elements of Viv in that new kitty cat. Always, I know that more than one of you guys have experienced this, and I see it in Gypsy. Gypsy, who has very specific behaviors, and then she'll suddenly drool the way that Lucy used to drool. And Gypsy's not the drooly kind of dog, and the big drips of drool will just start hanging from her. Those are our other animal companions coming through to express themselves. If you've got a new animal companion residing in your home, you can ask. You can ask to see something that was very specific to your animal companion that now resides with you. I mean, that used to reside with you and is now in heaven. And then I wrote down, that was the part about, yes, he told you that please adopt any cat. Any cat, didn't matter as long as it wasn't a dog. Derrick, I'm assuming that you're not a dog person because it was very clear and said in a very humorous way, just not a dog. And a sense that he sits on your chest. So Derrick, I don't know who you are, like in a personal stature or anything, but I got a sense of him literally on your chest. And that you'll feel him there. So I don't know if that was during sleep, but to let you know that he would come to you with a sense of sitting on your chest. Okay, let me, oh, look, yeah, that fast you're typing that. Yes, I remember the time I felt like he was on my chest and he was very vocal. Okay. Is it selfish to ask for signs every day? Sharon, absolutely not. Nope, because there's no such thing as no, you can ask for it 100 times a day if that's what you want. They are going to encourage us to go out and live our life. They want us to continue living and to go exploring and having fun and doing the things that light us up. They want us to enjoy the time that we have in this physical body, but we can ask them any old time. I like to think of the movie, The Santa Claus. I know it's not animals, but you think of the movie The Santa Claus, and if anybody's ever seen that movie, at the end of the movie, the child has a snow globe, and when he shakes the globe, it brings Santa back, and he shakes it right away, and Santa Claus already. It's okay because you can shake that globe as much as you want. Our animal companions are there for us always, all the time. It's not too selfish. They want us to live our lives, but you can ask for connection anytime at all. You do like dogs, but cats much more. Okay. Birds, trees, sunspots. Not far from the airport either. Okay, so all of those things, the reason they send me that information is because it's ways to validate that it's them, and ways that you can communicate with them. Just remember all the things that were part of their life when they were here on this planet, and it will make it that much easier for you to talk to them on the other side. Why do you want to talk to them on the other side? To stay connected, to still know that you've got your soulmate. They don't go anywhere, but also they are able to tell us things. So Derrick, there are things that you can ask Viv that only you want to ask Viv. If there's something in your life that you want to change, if there's something different you want to do, if there's help you need solving a problem, if there's insight into what your purpose is supposed to be, and all of these things, they are now on the other side of the veil and have access to universal knowledge. We could ask directly for that information, but a lot of times it helps for us to have them as the intermediary, as the deliverer, as the helper. And whatever that question is, Viv wants you to know, I get this sense so clearly. There's something very specific you are meant to ask, or you want to ask. Ask the question, and we want to communicate because we want to be able to receive the answer. And trust the answer that you receive. Our animals don't deceive us. Our animals don't trick us. They don't know how to. And all they want to do is be our guiding light and be our partner as we continue on in this beautiful life. Okay, we have gone on for an hour and 15 minutes. I think that's the longest one I ever did. Mention the engine. I definitely, oh yeah, I write down everything that comes to you it's unfiltered. And sometimes the things make sense and sometimes they don't. And sometimes people come back to me. For example, I can't think of an example off the top of my head, but someone will come back to me a week or two later and say, by the way, that thing that you said, this is what it means. Or you said something that I didn't want to acknowledge in the video because it's very personal. And I just wanted to let you know, spot on. So there's, I write down everything and I don't filter it. My brother-in-law's dog helped me out when you were grieving. Oh, that's beautiful. Dogs are wonderful healers, as are horses. They're remarkable in their ability to help us heal, and they will let us cry on their shoulder. When I was very ill at one point, it was horses who healed me with grief. That our animals are so much more than just animals, and so much more than we give them credit for. Okay, guys, we are going to wrap things up. And I will, as always, will continue on every week. I try to pick. I ask to receive what the topic is going to be, and your questions are part of the way that that I get these topics. All right, you guys are all welcome. For those of you who would like a reading like this, like a little reading at the end of a video, you just send your request along with a picture to readformypet@gmail.com. It's the number 4, read4mypet@gmail.com. I'm behind still. We're kind of wrapping up. We're in January still, but I'm trying to do more and more each week. And if you would like an actual private reading, that where we don't do it here, we do it in a private Zoom call. I can post the link for that. I've just started doing those. I didn't feel comfortable doing those until I had a lot of practice. I wanted as much practice as I could possibly get before I offered this out to other people to like do private readings. Okay. My wife just pointed out that he didn't play with pencils much, but there's a great photo of him with his kitten with his paws on a pencil. Okay. I don't know. All I know is that I haven't seen one of these in 100 years until I started doing this reading for Viv. Okay. Should I send another? No, I don't think so. If you guys have already sent a request for a reading, and if you are a member of the membership group, I'm going to add this to the membership. It might bump. I mean, I'm going to let you guys kind of jump the line a little bit. So I'll reach out to anybody who's a member I will look specifically for anybody who has joined the membership group and has requested a reading for their animal companions. I think that answers all the questions. Otherwise, you can always post questions after this is all over. The video obviously then becomes public for everybody to see, and you can post your questions there. All right, you guys. It has been great chatting with you, trying to reach my friend's crossover dog. And my Phoebe was there nudging me. Center of attention. Oh yeah. I take everything. When you get those kinds of things, it's a sign. Okay. Yeah, this is called a Midwestern goodbye, where the goodbye lasts longer than the video. All right. Take care, guys. Thank you for joining me. I will see you again next week. And until then, may animals light your way. Love you all.